right, and hello to ARX in the YouTube chat. Looks like you're the first chatter of the day, so congratulations on that. We've got about 30 more seconds here until the official start time, but it's good to see our multi-streamers working. Let's check out live.nots.co, make sure everything, okay, Mixer's good, Twitch is good, YouTube is good, Smashcast is good, although it has ads, Stream Me is good, and is Dailymotion working? That would be the only one. Dailymotion has an ad, but I think it's working as well. Wow, so we've got 100% of our multi-streamers working. That is impressive as well. And it looks like it's time to start. So hello everyone, good morning and welcome, or I guess good afternoon, and welcome to the Nerd on the Street 6-year anniversary live stream. I'm your host, Jacob Kaufman, the Nerd on the Street, and yeah, this is, like I said, just getting together, celebrating 6 years of Nerd on the Street. I've got some video clips to play in a while, and I'm just going to be talking to you guys about Nerd on the Street, and yeah, answering any questions and just chatting for a while. We'll see how long we can keep it going here. 2RX asks, who even uses Dailymotion? Yeah, nobody. It's Nerd on the Street has a Dailymotion channel, and I can put it on the screen right here. And it's funny because I was actually, well, let me get to it first before I bring the screen up. So dailymotion.com/nerdonthestreet. This was something I did in 2014, I think. I made this Dailymotion channel, and it actually, Dailymotion looked a lot different back then than it does today. Dailymotion did a redesign last year, and I mixed on the redesign. It looks a lot more modern, but it's also not as easy to use, I guess. And I've got ad block on, but you can see the channel page itself has 16 ads already. I think the biggest problem with Dailymotion is actually the ads. I started mirroring all of my videos to Dailymotion back when YouTube changed their comment system. Because if you remember, they didn't used to use Google Plus for YouTube comments, and a lot of people were mad about that when that happened on YouTube. It's starting to get a little relevant again, people switching away from YouTube and onto alternative platforms now that YouTube is doing all kinds of demonetization things. But back then, it was comment systems we were getting upset about. So yeah, I used Dailymotion a little bit. I guess I never really watched a lot of stuff on Dailymotion. Interestingly enough, I got paid by Dailymotion before I ever got paid by YouTube. Dailymotion, in the first, 3 or 4 months of me being on Dailymotion, we made $100 in ad revenue, and I got a payout from that. Since then, I have not gotten a single payout from Dailymotion, though, so it was really weird, because we got $100 in a few months, and then we've gotten, a couple of dollars in the years since then. And, of course, now I get payouts from Google for YouTube every 2 months or so, so they've overtaken Dailymotion with how much they've paid me long ago. But yeah, the Dailymotion channel is still there for live streaming. The reason I live stream to Dailymotion is because they automatically record all of our live streams, and they're private recordings, but I like to have a backup recording in case my local one were to fail for some reason. A long time ago, I used to not record locally, and that's why, the Nerd on the Street 1-year anniversary live stream, there's no recording of it, because I used livestream.com back then, which I think got bought by Vimeo recently. But back then I used Livestream with their old Flash mixer thing. They had a Flash application that was basically, it was really advanced for the time, and it was basically like OBS Studio but in your web browser, but only for livestream.com. They actually got rid of that Flash player, and they never made an equivalent for HTML when Livestream did their redesign years ago. But when they lost, I actually didn't learn to start keeping local recordings of live streams after livestream.com lost the Nerd on the Street 1-year anniversary live stream. It wasn't until we started doing the Friday Night Hangout, which I don't know if you've ever seen any of those, but me and my streaming partner, I guess, and friend Adam, we used to do weekly live streams every Friday at nerdonthestreet.com. Just chatting about our weeks and things, and that's where the Nerd on the Street podcast, about 50 or 60 episodes of that were just the audio from that live stream. But episode 1 of that, Dailymotion didn't used to start recording until I actually clicked start recording. At this point, it starts recording automatically, so this should be being recorded by Dailymotion right now. But yeah, a long time ago, I used to have to log into my Dailymotion account and click start recording for them to actually start the recording, because the Dailymotion engineers aren't exactly top-notch. Although I will say that Dailymotion support is awesome. I've had interactions with Dailymotion support where like an upload would fail consistently, and I contacted them and they took a look at the video file, and then they actually made changes to Dailymotion's uploader and asked me to just try uploading the same file again, and then it worked. You know, I would never expect to actually talk to a human being with YouTube support. At best I would get like somebody semi-official on the Google help forums, but I would never expect to have an actual YouTube employee talk to me, whereas the Dailymotion employees, because I'm a Dailymotion partner, maybe, or maybe just because they're better for everyone, but they actually talk to you if you contact Dailymotion support. So I don't have a problem with the people working at Dailymotion. I do have a problem with their website sometimes, such as I just think they do too many ads. I have no choice but to use ad block on Dailymotion because it's unusable without it. And then it just looks ridiculous with ad block because there's blank space everywhere with this new redesign. But yeah, that's why we stream to Dailymotion, just as a mirror and for a recording backup, which I use sometimes. It's also nice just to have the recording backups for timestamp purposes, so that we've got a record of whenever we stream. Because I made a video, 2ARX, I don't know if you've seen the video I made a couple of years ago about the restreaming system that I set up. Still using that same restreaming system today. It's just a DigitalOcean droplet running Ubuntu Linux, I think. And it's got Nginx on it and the RTMP module for Nginx. So right now I'm actually streaming to a droplet in New York, and then that droplet is restreaming to like 6 different websites. That way I can have crappy internet but still stream to 10 different places at once. So yeah. So 2ARX, looks like you're the only chatter here right now. What was your what kind of Nerd on the Street content do you watch? You're on the YouTube channel, so I assume you'd mainly watch my tech videos. You into like just the Linux stuff, or do you watch unboxings too? I want to know what's going to be interesting to talk about. Mainly Linux, yeah. Yeah, the Linux videos are the most fun ones to make too on the tech channel. I don't like relying on like unboxings and stuff to fill in content, although I do obviously make unboxings sometimes, because I feel like if I'm spending money on equipment, I might as well show you guys what I'm buying. That's why I do unboxings and like make a little bit of it back through like ad revenue and stuff if I can. But yeah, anyway, 2ARX only subscribed a few days ago. Wow, so I've been doing this for 6 years and you just subscribed a few days ago, but you're here at the 6-year anniversary stream, so thank you for being here. As you can tell, so Nerd on the Street, let's go through some statistics. And you're gonna see, I'm gonna be playing a video later. It's just a couple minutes long, and it's got a lot of clips from throughout the years of Nerd on the Street, so you'll see a little bit of what else I've done. But we'll go through some statistics on just YouTube. Not even counting Dailymotion or my website, but over our lifetime, we've gotten 1.7 million views, which I don't remember how many we got last year, or what we were at last year. I feel like we got less views during year 6 than we probably got in years 4 and 5. But yeah, the most viewed videos that we've got are ripping DVDs with VLC. Let me sort this by views here. Yeah, everybody searches YouTube how to rip DVDs. We've got our iPad Mini 2 versus Galaxy Tab S2 8.0 video that I made, and then number 3 on the most viewed list for the channel is KDE Plasma 5 Linux desktop environments. So some of the Linux stuff is very popular, like desktop environment reviews. Some of the Linux stuff is not as popular. Like I made a video quite recently about hacking on GNOME Music, and that was fairly popular. But then I also made another video on extracting album art from music files, which is necessary to use a lot of Linux music players properly. But that video wasn't as popular. So it is hit or miss, kind of. But yeah. No, the Linux stuff is the most fun to do for sure. And if you ever have questions about Linux, feel free to, you know, drop comments. Or if you leave a forum post at nerdonthestreet.com, you'll definitely receive support in some fashion or another from me. But yeah, even just comments and stuff. The thing about Linux videos is I don't always have ideas for Linux videos, because, you know, I can't just be sitting around using Linux. I need to be doing something specific. But yeah, like a couple years ago, I made a video on how to use a Linux server to make a restreaming server, like I was just talking about. And I think that one did fairly well. Yeah, we were going through, I don't remember, I was going to the statistics to answer something you said. But I don't remember what that was anymore. But yeah, we've gotten 1.7 million views, over 10,000 likes, and over 2,000 dislikes across all of our videos. We've gotten nearly 4,000, just under 4,000 comments, 3,978 comments total across all of our videos. And then you look at our average view duration. And the average view duration for Nerd of the Street videos as a whole is 4 minutes and 11 seconds. And the average length of my videos is probably like 30 minutes or so. So the fact that our average view duration is 4 minutes tells you that a lot of people just come to get specific like instructions from some of the tech videos, and then they just leave immediately after and don't really engage with the community. So how did you find Nerd on the Street if you only subscribed a few days ago? I'm curious about that. Were you searching for anything in particular, like how to do something? What Linux distro do I recommend? So 2ARX in the chat is asking, let's see here. We'll show, what Linux distro would you recommend for beginners that are switching from Windows? That's a good question, and obviously that's a popular question. Right now, probably Solus. Because it's rolling release, so you're not going to be dealing with quirks that are stuck in whatever version of something you're using. Solus is basically dummy-proof with their package management. They make it very hard to break anything. And I don't use Solus personally for myself because Solus doesn't give you quite as much control over your package management as, say, Arch that I use does, or even like Ubuntu. It's much easier to install third-party things on Ubuntu than it is on Solus, but a lot of third-party software is in the Solus repositories anyway. So I would take a look at Solus, see, like I said, their package manager is, I've actually read, their developer posts some blog posts every now and then about how their stuff actually works. They've got their own package manager that, like I said, makes it very hard to break things. So if you're coming from Windows and you're worried about, you don't want to mess things up on your computer too easily, and you want something that looks nice and just works, then I would recommend Solus. Solus is what I've got my family using personally, even though I don't use it myself, like I said. Aside from that, I know years ago I would have recommended Linux Mint, and last time I tried Mint, it was still a decent distro, but they don't update very often. It is the opposite of a rolling release. Linux Mint is like LTS only, so that means that you don't have to update very often if you don't like updating very often, but at the same time, that means that a lot of Linux Mint's software is outdated. Like their version of LibreOffice is 1 or 2 major versions behind, so I wouldn't be able to tell you what changed during those major versions of LibreOffice necessarily, but I do know that they are behind a little bit. So yeah, Solus is my go-to today. Ubuntu Mate is another one though that people who are new to Linux, if you're a little bit more technical, you want something with more control than Solus, then Ubuntu Mate is where I would head to next. Because again, it's easy to set up, obviously, just the Ubuntu installer, and it's got a decent desktop environment, Mate. So yeah, so 2ARX says, I came from a video in the recommended section. That's cool. Yeah, that's where most of, that's the thing, like most of our viewers, I wonder if I can find some analytics on that. But yeah, I think a lot of our viewers come from searches because they're looking at how to do things. Like they're Googling or searching YouTube just how to ... do whatever, and then Second to that would be the recommended videos on YouTube. We don't have a lot of word of mouth. Like I said, we've gotten 1.7 million views and 10,000 likes over the last 6 years. The shares we've gotten is 2.7 thousand. So less than 3,000 shares, but we've got 9,000 videos added to people's playlists. So people are using our videos and liking our videos, but they're not sharing them with their friends. And that's one of the many reasons why I have started branching out into other content other than just the tech stuff. That's why I like the creative channel. I feel like people are more likely to share entertainment videos and even gaming videos with their friends than tech videos, because, you know, if you're looking up how to install Linux and then you find a video about how to do it, unless your friend also wants to install Linux, there's no point in sharing that with them. But like, we're working on Display Season 3 right now. I'm working on that. It's an animated series, and if you watch that series and you enjoy it, it's more natural to share entertainment content with friends without necessarily having to have a segue. The video was completely different than what I was watching, 2ARX says. So yeah, the recommended section not actually working that well, but at least it got you here. So, and now you're watching a live stream, so obviously you liked something. So maybe YouTube is better than we're giving them credit for. I did get a message here from somebody. Just gonna check that. Yeah, I actually just a couple weeks ago I received a coupon from Google AdWords, which Google has AdSense, which is when they pay you to advertise on your stuff, and then they've got AdWords, that is when you pay them to advertise on other people's stuff. So I got a coupon for AdWords and I signed up for it. So Nerd on the Street's actually running YouTube ads right now on top of, it's only on certain channels, and particularly on channels that I watch myself because I know that they're real channels. When I first set it up, and it was just going with whoever's videos were cheapest, it was just on a bunch of unrelated videos. I couldn't see anyone clicking onto Nerd on the Street content from that stuff, but I'm interested to see if we get a single viewer from the Google ads, because I got a certain amount of credit from Google, so I'm not actually going to spend that much money with them, but I am going to go ahead and use the credit they gave me, so we'll see if that does anything at all, or if Google's just the world's largest advertisement provider for no reason. But yeah, which video was it that you found through the recommended section? I know that like the how to repair MP4 files is a common one for both searching and recommended. I think that the Linux installation videos also tend to get pushed in YouTube's recommended sections. I'm looking through the statistics to see if we can find anything. By the way, I did have someone message me just now privately and let me know that the video was starting to stick for them, starting to freeze. If you're on nerdonthestreet.com, if you're at live.nots.co, there's a live stream toolbox underneath the chat, and you can actually click switch to YouTube or switch to Twitch. You can actually change the video player you're using at nerdonthestreet.com for you guys watching there. So if you're having issues with the default mixer, just click on one of those other video players and switch it over and see if that works a little better. So hey, Dragon God in the nerdonthestreet.com chat. Hello. Good to see you, I guess. Dragon is, so, by the way, 2ARX, if you're not sure what's going on with me talking to different people, I'm streaming to YouTube right now. I'm also streaming to nerdonthestreet.com. So we've got a chat room over there, and I'm monitoring about 4 other chat rooms as well. So, yeah. But Dragon is someone who is commonly on our Nerd on the Street Discord. And I probably would have banned Dragon by now from our Discord if he wasn't friends with a Nerd Club member. But, because he posts a lot of unrelated stuff to our Discord channel a lot that has nothing to do with Nerd on the Street or technology. But, you know, I'm still glad you're here, Dragon. Yeah. So, 2RX says, I have a question. Is there a wiki/website that has drivers for Linux for uncommon devices such as an uncommon printer? I don't know about a wiki. I think there was a linuxdrivers.net or something. Let me just search. Alright, thanks DuckDuckGo. Linux drivers. There was a wiki about, alright, so it's linux-drivers.org. It's not really a wiki, I guess. It's more like a catalog. I'm taking a look at it right now. So here, I'll cut to the laptop screen. So it's more like a catalog here. So we've got, you choose your distribution, and then once you choose, let's say we went OpenSUSE. Oh, well, that's just linking you to different distribution pages, actually. But then we've got some, okay, well, so linux-drivers.org is very outdated, and some of their links are broken, as you just saw. The short answer to your question is no, there's not one wiki for that kind of stuff. And, you know, the thing about that is you're talking about uncommon devices. There would have to be a really popular website for that to actually work, because if it's an unpopular device to begin with, how many people are going to be on that website and own the device to be able to test it and add it to the wiki? If you're talking about a printer, I would try doing web searches like on Google and stuff for just the printer model and name. You're going to have better luck with that than anything else. Because yeah, even the websites that do have lists of hardware, it's more that they're trying to collect lists of hardware that work well, not necessarily trying to collect driver links. Yeah, I know that can be a bit of a pain. I've dealt with some printers that have not had great drivers. I've also dealt with wireless cards years ago. And I think nowadays a lot of the wireless cards that used to not work automatically on Linux work automatically now. But back when I started using Linux over 6 years ago, that was probably like 7 or 8 years ago at least, like my old laptop that I had before this one, that wireless card needed proprietary drivers. And there was a wireless card I got for a Windows Millennium Edition computer that I then later wanted to use that wireless card with Linux. And it had proprietary drivers that were very difficult to get working. So yeah, I know that can be a pain, but there's not really any wiki or website that I know of. I mean, yeah, let me know if there's any specific models. Hey, we've got another viewer, Bodhi Gatling, looks like. And this viewer's profile picture is the NVIDIA logo, which is interesting. Good choice, or interesting, not good necessarily, but interesting choice that intrigues me for a Linux user. So have any of you attended the Southeast Linux Fest? Bodhi Gatling asks. Southeast Linux Fest, I have not attended any Linux Fests myself. I'd love to at some point. Southeast Linux, where is that? Southeast Linux Fest, is that Maryland? I think, yeah, I've been to this website. Alright, so that's North Carolina. That Southeast Linux Fest is in. Yeah, this is actually one of the ones I thought about, like, attempting to go to at some point. Because this is near where Richard Bimmer lives, which is the co-host of Rolling Release. If any of you, or the current co-host of our currently on hiatus show, Rolling Release, if any of you have watched Rolling Release. So I thought about trying to go to that. I think I decided I don't have the time or resources for it this year. I'd love to start doing some Linux Fests in the future. Right now, as a college student, I'm just trying to kind of, you know, ride the waves until I graduate and get a job, and then once I've got some income, then I'll be able to kind of travel around a little bit more. But hey, Richard Bimmer is in the chat. That is Richard Bimmer, right? Let me make sure his NOTS profile. I really need to work on. I recently got an idea for our website. Oh, that's not Richard Bim. I don't think it is. I can't actually. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay. So hi, Richard. Good to see you. I think, Richard, have you been to any? Our chatter here asked if any of us have been to Linux. Southeast Linux Fest. So if you've been to any Linux Fests, feel free to pipe in. But yeah, I'm working on getting the staff names and Nerd Club names to be different colors than the rest of the names on our website. That's a coming soon feature. And hey, we've got a Twitch account in our Twitch chat. Godly Alex 100 says hello there. Hello, welcome to the Nerd on the Street 6-year anniversary live stream. Yeah, Richard says he never actually made an account. Well, I'm glad you have one now. And yeah, Richard was, if I don't know, 2ARX, since you just found Nerd on the Street a couple of days ago, you might not have seen any Rolling Release episodes. I really want to get back to Rolling Release at some point. and start doing that show again. I decided to put it on hold until Displaced Season 3 is done. Might not have been the best decision. I've been making a lot of questionable decisions with Nerd of the Street recently. But I just had even now I've got way too much on my high priority list is more like just a regular to-do list, just because I've got so much stuff stacked up, which I'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, Richard has been great as a co-host. I really enjoy doing the show with him, and he says he has not been to Southeast Linux Fest, but he has been in Charlotte, North Carolina before for another convention. So that's cool. Yeah, the only Linux events that I've been to, I went to one meeting of the St. Louis Linux Users Group, and that was back in November, I think, of 2017. Like late November. It was a week or two before our Extra live stream. So I guess that wouldn't be too late in November, would it? It might have been October. Yeah, I think it was October now that I think about it. But the thing about the St. Louis Linux Users Group was that it seemed like most of the people, like everyone there basically, except for the other new member who I'm pretty sure was not going to come back, all of the regular members of the STL lug were like retired, and they were very old. So they were very nice, and it was interesting when I went there. One of them gave a presentation on VoIP phone software, and I actually learned some stuff from the presentation. But I was actually planning to go back, but then November we had Extra Life. I didn't want to crash their Christmas party in December, and then I was just super busy this past semester and haven't gotten the chance to go back because they only meet once a month here in St. Louis. But I went to one meeting of that, and then when System 76 flew me out to Denver, their headquarters, last year in early 2017, that was the closest thing to a Linux convention I've been to. But it was a lot of fun, and I'd love to go to an actual Linux convention sometime because I think it would be fun. Oh, our Twitch viewer, Godly Alex, says, I am Dragon, but I switched to Twitch. Here's a thing that you can do, Dragon. If you want to watch on another website, you can still use the nerdonthestreet.com chat room, because in that live stream toolbox under the chat, you can actually pop that chat out. There's a button for pop-out chat. I worked really hard getting the pop-out chat working, so you can click on that. It'll open up a new window. You can still chat in our chat room so that everyone knows what's going on. So, Bodie Gatling says, how is St. Louis's tech scene? Well, the IT industry is actually doing really well here, but only like the boring parts. Like, we don't have a lot of startup. There's actually a growing startup scene here, but a lot of the stuff here is proprietary that's going on. How is our open source and how is our free tech scene going? There's not a lot happening, but we do have a very good IT industry right now. I have no concerns that I'll definitely be able to get a good job in IT after I graduate in December of this year. But yeah, I'd like to get a job doing something with free and open software at some point, but I don't know if I'll be able to get that in St. Louis. But yeah, the St. Louis tech scene in general, I don't know how much development we're doing. I don't know how to describe St. Louis. And I also don't know a whole lot about it because I don't get out much anyway, even though I live here. But yeah, St. Louis has a booming IT industry, really. But like, Amazon passed up the reason Amazon's been looking for a new headquarters recently. They've been looking for the new city to put their new HQ in, and they were giving some of the cities reasons why they were rejecting them. The reason they gave St. Louis was a lack of talent, why Amazon didn't want to come here. So like, St. Louis is doing well in like the entrenched proprietary, like not really outdated technology, but just like I don't know how to put it, like corporate technology, if that makes sense. Yeah, Bodhi Gatling says same with Charlotte. Yeah. And Dragon God has discovered the pop-out chat on the website and seems to be at least a little bit impressed by that, so that's good. Yeah, I've been looking around recently. I actually don't go outside much, even though, like I said, I live in St. Louis, but I don't know a ton about it. But yeah, I've been looking around at how St. Louis actually is as a city, and I've been looking at other nearby cities like Kansas City and Denver and kind of comparing them just to see what's actually going on here in the Midwest and how the tech scene is going. Because yeah, like I said, I'm going to be graduating in December. I'll be graduating from college, and I'll only have an associate's degree. But I'll also have my A+ certification. I've also got my CCNA already, CCNA route switch, and then I'll be getting a CCNA security this fall. And then I'm also close to getting my Linux Plus / LPIC 1 as well. So I'll have a decent amount of certifications and stuff, and I'll be looking for a job in early 2019 for like a full-time job. And that's one of the reasons why I've been making a lot of questionable decisions recently with Nerd on the Street. You know, and I've been very busy over the last 6 months. I'm trying to balance out finishing my college with like keeping Nerd on the Street going and lots of other things. Hey, Postal One says the pop-out chat is helping me too. I'm glad everyone likes the pop-out chat. Yeah, it did take a little bit of work to get that pop-out chat working, but I'm proud that that is working on our website. Hey, Gatling says, congrats, I'll be graduating this Monday. Oh, high school. Graduating high school this Monday. Cool. Hey, congratulations for you. Yeah. It's been 2 years since I've graduated high school now, and it's been a mixed bag since then. Part of me wants to describe it as a downward spiral, but then at the same time, from an objective point of view, I've done quite well over the last 2 years, but yeah. So good luck to you, whatever you're doing. Are you going to like college or university or what? Sounds like you're in the area of Charlotte, since you're talking about how the tech scene is there. Yeah. But let's see. So this past year of Nerd on the Street, this was year number 6. And this was actually a really good year for Nerd on the Street, especially compared to year 5. Maybe not as good as year 4, because I feel like year 4 Nerd on the Street, my last year of high school, was kind of the prime of the company so far. Oh, Gatling says he's doing a gap year, starting a software startup with some friends. Wow. Well, good luck to you with that. Yeah, hey, drop by on the Nerd on the Street forums and drop a link to your startup once you got some, like a website going and stuff, because that'd be cool to follow. Yeah, like, you know, something interesting about startups, I don't know if I could do an actual startup. Nerd on the Street is more me bootstrapping a company, because I am trying to get a day job and then using that money to grow Nerd on the Street slowly. I remember right after I visited System 76, Ryan was the name of their community manager at the time, and he had been part of System 76's Superfan contest a year before I was. So he visited them as part of their first Superfan event that System 76, a computer manufacturer, ran. While he was there, he basically walked up to the CEO of that company and said, I want to work here. The CEO asked, what would you do? And Ryan explained what he would do as a community manager, and System 76 hired him as a community manager. And then a year later, I met him at this event. But only a couple months after that event, Ryan actually left System 76. I think his name is Ryan Sipes or something like that. But yeah, he left System 76 so that he could go and start some startup. And I haven't been following his startup. There's so much stuff I gotta follow. It's nothing personal that I'm not following a startup. But yeah, I was really surprised when he left. It's like if I landed a job at System 76, I don't think I would be able to walk away from something like that, something both so cool and stable, to do something so risky like starting a startup. You know, my parents for a long time thought I was gonna go to Silicon Valley and do startup stuff there, but I just don't know if I want to take that big of a risk. I've always been a little bit risk adverse. So right now like I said, I'm graduating from college this December, and I have no problem. Like, I am definitely going to be able to get a job. I just don't know if it's going to be a job I'm actually going to enjoy, but it is going to be a job because I've set myself up to not have a lot of risk in that area, because I didn't want to have to really worry about that too much. But yeah, that is cool. And let's see. Right, so year 6 of Nerd on the Street was really good. Last year, for the year 5 of Nerd on the Street, there really wasn't a lot to talk about, because after I graduated from high school, basically what the next year of my life looked like was I went to university, where I didn't have a decent computer for the first 4 or 5 months I was there, and then after I did get a decent computer, I still didn't have like a good space to record, and I also lost a lot of contact with a lot of my former friends during that first 6 months. And then I transferred halfway through that year from university to technical college. I did that for reasons that I talked about at the time. And then the next 6 months were getting used to the technical college. So Nerd on the Street really didn't do a lot during year 5. The only 3 things that we did was the System 76 Superfan 2 event that they flew me out to. We did have probably our best Extra Life stream so far in 2016 that we did at the hangar here in St. Louis with Faith Lutheran Church. And that was probably our best Extra Life stream, production quality wise. We had a lot less issues than this year, but it was still way higher production quality than our first year doing Extra Life. So yeah, that one was good. And then we started the rolling release show during year 5 of Nerd on the Street. Granted, it was only a month or two prior to year 5 coming to an end, but technically rolling release was a product of Nerd on the Street's 5th year. This year, though, we had a lot more stuff going on. We did do Extra Life again, even though it was a bit of a cluster putting that whole thing together this year. And I don't know, did any of you guys watching? I know Richard donated to Extra Life this year. Did anyone else, like on YouTube or anything, watch our Extra Life stream? Because I did stream it. I know ARX, you just found us. But yeah, I don't know who else here has watched our Extra Life streams, or if you know what that is, but we did that this year. This was the first year 6 of Nerd on the Street, first year that I've gotten any free products for Nerd on the Street. After 5 years of doing free reviews and I would buy things and do unboxings and just give publicity to stuff that I liked, this year I not only had 1 but 2 free products sent to me. And even though it's a double-edged sword, and I get really nervous about it when I get free stuff, because I don't want to shill these products just because they're being given to me for free. But at the same time, sometimes I overreact to that, and I overcompensate, and I end up knocking on things more than I would otherwise just because they were given to me for free. Which obviously isn't a good thing either. But this year I had the Oracle hard drive dock that was sent to me, and that was just a sort of a cheap thing. I already had one that did sort of the same thing, but it was still neat to actually get a physical product for free in exchange for reviewing it. And then a few months later, I got sent an $800 4K monitor from BenQ, which I made an unboxing on. I still need to make the review for that one. And that's one of the many things on my priority to-do list. But yeah, getting those, even though it's not even so much, I didn't need that second hard drive dock, and even the monitor's been great to have. I'm looking at it right now. But I didn't necessarily need a new monitor either. I wouldn't have bought myself one. But, you know, getting something for free because these companies have decided that I've got a large enough audience for it does make me feel good about myself and about Nerd on the Street. I appreciate that coming from the companies, and I thank you guys for making that possible, because it's your views and stuff that have done that. But those 2 things happened this year, and those were huge for me personally. So yeah, some of the other cool things that happened this year, we had our composer developer chats that went on for about 8 weeks. They went on for about 10 weeks, but we skipped a couple here or there. So if you've been to nerdonthestreet.com before, which some of you guys are chatting on there, we use a content management system called Composer. It is free software and it is open source. And the developer of Composer actually emailed me after I made one video just kind of talking about Composer, and he suggested that I start leading up some community chats for the Composer users to talk to each other and to talk to the developer of Composer himself. And that was really cool. I always appreciate anytime anyone goes out of their way to write me an email or something. I think that stuff is cool. And like, Composer is the best content management system for websites. So when the developer of that actually contacted me, yeah, that was awesome. Now the chats that we did, they could have gone a little better, but you know, they weren't terrible either. And even though we decided to stop doing those chats, and I'm glad we stopped doing those chats, I was happy when they ended, just because there was a lot of different stuff going on with those community chats for Composer, and And yeah, I wasn't quite sure what to think of them the entire time that we were doing them. But I am still really glad that we did it. And I am glad that I had some contact with that developer, because he's a great guy. And I really appreciate his software. And yeah. Let's see. So, like I said, even though we started rolling release during year 5, another thing that happened during year 6 was Richard, who is in the chat right now, he started doing rolling release with me, and it turned into an actual informative show. We stopped doing the feature segments, and we started just doing news. And yeah, it turned into actually something that we were kind of building up cadence with. And I actually felt bad about drawing the line and stopping rolling release. Now, part of the reason I did that was because me and Richard were kind of canceling episodes every other week with rolling release. And then we both got busy during the end of our last semester here at college, and then I decided to put Display Season 3 at the top of my priority list. And right now it's number 3 on my priority list, because I've got other things. I've got to also make the monitor review, which, since they sent me a free product, I put that above Displaced. And then there's a podcast that I did as well with some people from another community online. And since they were guests to the company, I wanted to put that at the top of my priority list as well. So Displaced has gotten shoved down to 3rd on the list. And that's how things are working right now. And then this past week, the Nerd on the Street 6-year anniversary video, I put that at the very top of the list. So Display Season 3 was number 4. I finally got that video done. I'm going to show it in just a minute here, actually, while we've still got some viewers. But yeah, that's what happened with rolling release. Was me and Richard both got busy. We mutually just decided, let's give this a little rest, and come back to it when we've actually got time for it. And in Richard's case, that was after he graduated. In my case, I needed a little bit more time to finish up some other stuff, and I still am working on Display Season 3. I'll talk about that in greater detail a little bit later in the stream, but yeah. Rich, I appreciate Richard doing rolling release with me so much. The only contact I had with him prior to that was some Minecraft stuff years earlier, and then I met him at RTX 2 years in a row and chatted with him both times. And yeah, Richard's great. He's got his websites like richardsprojects.net. I think it's linked on his on his profile. It might be. I'm sorry. Richard hasn't graduated yet. He's still got 2 more years of college. Yeah, when I said last semester, I meant like this past semester, like last Friday or something like that, you know. Oh, Postal One asks, is Richard going to make it to RTX this year? That's a good question. I am going to make it to RTX this year, by the way. I've already purchased tickets. I'll be my dad's taking me this year. Last year, I took my dad down to RTX to show him what, like, the internet culture is like, and he enjoyed it more than I thought he would, which was cool. And then this year, we are going to go again. The year before that, it's kind of funny, though, because in 2016, me and Adam, who I mentioned earlier, the one who used to do those Friday night hangouts, me and Adam went down to RTX by ourselves. And I remember us being there and, like, me looking at other people, like kids who were there with their parents, and I was thinking, like, a double-faceted thing about people who were at RTX with their parents. I was thinking, number one, I feel sorry for them because, like, me and Adam are here without our parents, and obviously we're having a better time than those other people who are there with their parents. But then at the same time, I also thought, if my parents were here, they would be cooler than those other parents and probably get what's going on a little bit more than the other parents at RTX. My dad did have a good time last year. This year he's taking me back because he wanted to go again. Richard says probably not going to RTX. He has an internship that he'll be pretty busy with. Definitely try for next year, though. Yeah, I got lucky with an awesome... I won't go so far as to call it awesome, but I've got a relatively flexible job right now. I've got a job at my school, which means that they know I'm a student and they have to accommodate my classes, and then they're also fairly accommodating with I think they will be, with asking off. I haven't actually missed a single day since I started my current job in November, or in October, I think, actually. But yeah, they should let me off easier than my work last year did, that's for sure, for RTX later this year. So if anyone else is going to RTX, I'll be there. If you want to meet up, for sure we should get together and talk. But Richard will not be there. Totally understandable. Internships are cool too. And then, let's see. I think I got distracted. But yeah, rolling release, turned into a pretty good show toward the end there. I was happy with how the last few episodes went before we decided to put it on pause. But yeah, I do need to take a step back and finish up some other things first. And then some of the other favorite things that have happened this past year, just during year 6, for me personally, have been the Micecast's involvement with Displaced. So there are 2 people. There's a pair of streamers out there named Mike Kroon, and his stream partner is Westy. I don't know Westy's last name off the top of my head, but yeah, they are going to be voice actors in Displaced Season 3. They've already recorded their lines, and you guys probably have never heard of these people. I've heard of them. A lot of other people have heard of them. And I was really excited to have them involved. I know, like, some of the people involved with Displaced, when I have been talking to them about having Mike and Westy do lines for Displaced, they haven't really gotten what the big deal's about. But I was super excited about that personally. And then recently I recorded a podcast. Well, I'll talk about that one later, actually, for the 6-year highlights. But Richard says they would probably let me take time off any other time, but I need to present what I have done at the end of the internship, and I have to present on August 7th, so I want some time to prepare. Yeah, RTX is later this year. I'm glad that the college I'm going to right now starts later than like other colleges, because if I was still at university, I don't know if I'd even be able. I probably would still be able to go. I still definitely wouldn't be able to go if I was still in high school, because I'm pretty sure high school is going to start before RTX this year. Maybe not, but yeah, they did move it they moved it like a month later. This convention down in Texas. So yeah, I might also be going to New York in a week or 2, possibly. Not confirmed at all, but if anyone is in or near New York, also hit me up. I can meet up with you there, possibly in a couple of weeks. Richard says if it was July again, it would have been much more doable for me. Yeah, I don't know what RTX is going to be like this year, because I know last year I was happy with like the panels and stuff last year, but a lot of other people weren't, and there were a lot of big organizational issues at that convention last year. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. And you know, like I said, while we still got some viewers, hopefully we still have some viewers on YouTube. Hopefully they haven't all left. Well, the participants list is empty now on YouTube, but sometimes that glitches out. But I am going to show the Nerd on the Street 6-year anniversary video right now. So last year, I do want to take a moment. First of all, if you're watching on the live stream DVR, if you're watching this stream as a recording, this video is going to be muted for you. You're not going to hear the music. Dragon says, you should visit Missouri. I hear Frog is there. Yes, I'm in Missouri, Dragon. I don't know why I stopped to read his chat out loud. All right. Postal1 says, I heard Mike and Westy are not going to make it to RTX this year. Yeah, they're not going. Nobody from that entire... I went to a Micecast meetup last year. Nobody from that meetup is going this year. But then most of them don't watch Rooster Teeth content anymore, and neither do I, really. I haven't watched any stuff from Rooster Teeth in the last couple months at all. But we should still be able to have a good time there, because it is an internet convention. But yeah, Mike and Westy themselves are not going to be at RTX. We can revisit that later if I want to talk about it. I was right in the middle of something, though. So this video, this is the first year I have used, just flat out blatantly used, copyrighted music for this 6-year video. Now, the song that I picked out, it fits very well for the occasion. That's why I used it. And I also, yeah, I like the song. But yeah, this is going to be, obviously we're going to stream it right now because, you know, YouTube can go screw themselves if they don't like streaming copyrighted stuff, but I won't be able to upload this with the music afterwards. So what I'm going to do is there's a countdown before the video. I'm going to make the countdown a little bit longer later, and I'm going to upload a muted version of this, and anyone who wants to go and find the song somewhere else legally can go and find the song and click play on the song right when the countdown reaches 0, and you'll be able to watch this later. But yeah, you guys watching the live stream right now, you get to see it with the music. You're like the only people who will get to see it with the music. I don't know if it's going to be in sync or not because we're streaming, but every year I make a video. It used to be a montage. The first 4 years I made a montage of all of the tech videos up until the stream. Last year for year 5, I decided to take a step back from the montage and just make a highlight reel because we had lots of content, but not a lot of new content last year. Year 5 was pretty slow, like I said. So Sorry, Dragon's distracting me with this chat. I'm gonna move this chat over here so it's off the screen. So last year I made this highlight reel. It ended up being 25 minutes long though, which was longer than a lot of people wanted to watch for meta content like this. So this year it's just like a 2.5, 3-minute video that covers all 6 years. Once again, it's only the highlights, but it's a bit more packed in than last year. So I actually fit more into this year's video. Of course, you won't be able to actually experience each individual event, and you won't know what some of them are if you haven't seen them. Whereas last year's highlight reel, I took a bit more of a slow approach with it, where you could actually hear the people talking in the videos. This is the first year I've just muted all of our videos to make room for just the songs. But anyway, you know, I think that's all of the introduction that we need, but I did work a lot on this, so I'm excited to see what you guys think of it. So I'm going to play our Nerd on the Street 6-year anniversary video right now. Let me know what you guys think. Alright. So there it is. Yeah, let me know what you guys thought. It's going to take a minute for obviously for the chat to start rolling in after that ends, because streams have delay. But yeah, for this year's video, I wanted something a little more fast-paced, and I wanted something a little shorter, a lot shorter, and yeah, something that would be a little more fun to watch than last year's ended up being at the end. So yeah, I think I accomplished that. It is such a shame that I have no legal right to use that music. Dragon said in the chat before it started, I could do that thing where I say I don't own the rights to the song that is played, no copyright infringement intended. I could do that, except that legally does nothing, and it changes nothing at all in any way. But yeah, it is a shame that I'm gonna have to upload that muted. But I do think it's kind of maybe a clever. I'm gonna put instructions in the description of the video, like find the song somewhere else, wait till the countdown gets to 0, click play. It's very similar, actually, in a way, to the way a lot of free software projects and Linux distributions distribute proprietary software. They don't give you the proprietary software. You know, if you download Ubuntu, you might not have a driver necessarily as part of Ubuntu's repositories, but then Ubuntu could put an install button there that downloads the driver from a third-party source and then gives you a script that you can run yourself to install it. So it's sort of the same thing. I'm giving you the building blocks, I'm giving you the source code of the video, and then people can put it together if they want to watch the video with its full effect later. Yeah, I'm glad you guys liked it. So yeah, that was, I couldn't hear the music just now, so I'm just kind of trying to think of what else I can say about that video. Kden Live was definitely, I was pushing the limits of Kden Live toward the end there, with a lot of the jump cuts and the wall of videos zooming out and everything going on. I had like 6 different video files. Let me show you the folder for making that video here. It's 6-year music video. So this is what the folder looked like for that. And you can see I had, right here, I had one just for that few second grid effect toward the end there. And then I had music video. Here was the first file, and then file 2, file 3, 3-1, 4, 5, 6. I made a new file every time I needed to basically bake in anything and delete some effects because things were getting too layered up in Kden Live. But the important thing is I still got it done. See, some people would say that Kden Live's not cut out for video editing because you can't do complicated things. But baking things in and taking a procedural approach to it is just part of how things work with Kden Live. So yeah, I think that video turned out very well. Yeah, a lot better than last year's highlight. The highlight reel wasn't even done last year, so already just having a finished product to show today was good to have. But yeah, that will be uploaded later, muted. Not sure what channel it's going to be on, but it will be on the website. Yeah, so we've got some more people in the chat now. Feel free to throw out how you guys, obviously I know how some of you found Nerd on the Street, but anyone who hasn't told a story before, and any new viewers coming in can also feel free to drop in the chat. Yeah, I think our YouTube viewers might have left us before we played the video, but That's all right. As long as YouTube didn't take us down when we started playing copyrighted music, I think we should be fine. And yeah, so this past year of Nerd on the Street, I have one of the reasons I'm doing this stream by myself this year, and I didn't invite anyone else. I'm not just doing this by myself because I couldn't book anybody. Sometimes, you know, it's hard to get Michael and Adam and other people on board to do stuff with me these days. But the reason why I'm doing this stream by myself is because I actually wanted... oh, we do have some YouTube viewers still here. Awesome. I wanted this stream in particular to be a Jacob-only thing because I think a lot of the people who watch Nerd on the Street really only care about me out of all the Nerd on the Street people. As much as I try and make it otherwise, I tried making Nerd on the Street a group thing ever since we started Displaced in 2014. And then with the Friday Night Hangout and with the gaming channel and trying to pass that off to different people, I was trying to make Nerd on the Street a group thing, and I was kind of trying to use it to make friends in high school, and then when everyone went to college and stopped making videos, I realized guess it didn't really work. So this past year, I've kind of intentionally spent the past year kind of trimming off some of the fat of Nerd on the Street. And basically acknowledging that I'm the only person here. If we go to nerdonthestreet.com/about, and by the way, like, well, I'll just keep going for now, and I'll put the stipulations on what I'm saying later. But on our About page, under the team here, you can see current only lists me and Richard. Everyone else is listed under past members of Nerd on the Street on our website, because I realized that there's no point in trying to drag these people in to make videos with me if they don't like making the videos, or if they're not, even if they say they enjoy making the videos, if I have to drag them into every single thing that we're doing, you know, and I have to fight with them to get them to do stuff, there's just no point in doing that. I realized that I don't want it to be just me. I'd still like to have other people helping me with videos. And like Richard is, I think, still up for picking Rolling Release back up at some point, and I really appreciate everything that he did for Rolling Release, all the shows that we did. But just some of the old people, the old timers who, obviously Stephanie left the company a while back, but like Michael and Adam in particular used to do stuff with me all the time for at least like live streaming and stuff, and he just doesn't do anything with me anymore. So I'm just gonna, over the last year, I've just come to terms with that, and I've stopped pretending that those people are still around. And like things like this, like where we're doing our streams about Nerd on the Street, I am the Nerd on the Street. So right now it's just me. We'll expand when we expand, but I'm gonna try not to force it as much anymore. Yeah. I don't know where exactly I can go to meet new people to help with video content right now, and that's something else I've been kind of struggling with. I tried going to a meetup in the area for some film people, but they ended up, the leadership of that meetup group rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't want to go back there, and I don't think that those people were really interested in YouTube videos anyway. They're looking at more bureaucratic movie making. But yeah, I am trying to focus back in on, you know, the tech videos. We obviously, most of our viewers are tech viewers, so we've got 1.7 million views over the last 6 years on our tech channel. We'll show this on stream here. Where did my Firefox window just go? Here we go. So here is 1.7 million views over our lifetime. If I switch that over to the creative channel, which is what we do Displaced on, let's see what our lifetime views are for our creative channel. 6,000. Oof. 6,500 views. And I'm not supposed to be showing you revenue, actually, so I'm going to go ahead and drag that half off of the screen. But just realized that now. Sorry, YouTube. Not sorry. But on our gaming channel, we've got 14,000 views. If it finishes loading in here. Yeah, it's not going to finish loading in. But yeah, oh, there it goes. So 14,000 views on the gaming channel and 1.7 million on the tech channel. So this past year, Nerd on the Street, I've been trying to do some different things, and it's interesting because they kind of conflict in some ways. On one hand, I've been trying to get back to the roots of Nerd on the Street, which is the tech videos, because tech videos are what the viewers actually want. Nobody cares about Displaced. Nobody actually cares about the gaming videos. I didn't even care about some of the gaming videos. But then the tech videos, especially the Linux stuff and the community open source stuff, people care about that. So I've been trying to get back to that basis and do more of that stuff. And not so much of the scripted. Rolling Release was great for having consistent content, and I do think that there's a space to be filled for good open source free software journalism, but what we had there was not journalism. What we had with Rolling Release was me and Richard throwing together we were basically aggregating content at the last minute, was what Rolling Release was. So I don't feel we were necessarily filling in that hole with Rolling Release. And yeah, like unboxings and stuff are fun sometimes, but I think the most important stuff we can do is the Linux stuff. Just even today, 2ARX just found Nerd on the Street a few days ago, and he found us through Linux stuff. That's how most people find us. And yeah, I've decided to come to terms with that and stop fighting the fact that this is a technology channel. And if you look at the Nerd on the Street videos, after the composer chats ended, it's basically just been stuff like hacking on no music, extract album art from music files, installing Ubuntu a bunch, and talking about Google's privacy policy. This is stuff that I did years ago back in high school. I would sit down and just talk to a camera for an hour. And I've got another clip to show you guys actually about that. I'll show that in just a minute here. But yeah, back in high school, when I first started Nerd on the Street, I would sit down. I have a video, the second or third video on this channel is called Let's Talk Windows 7. And it's just me talking into a webcam about Windows 7 for 45 minutes to an hour. And that was... I had fun making it, and I think some people at the time had fun watching it, even though Windows 7 had already been succeeded by that point. So it really wasn't that smart of a video to make. And I might not make that one again today, but during my last year of high school, and especially leading into, it was the second half of year 4 and the first half of year 5, I experienced this thing where I started getting worried about uploading every single video. I would worry that people would think this video is bad, and it wasn't like a self-consciousness thing, because I'm never really worried about what people think of. I mean, I do worry a lot about what people think of me, but that wasn't what the issue here was. The issue here was that I was worrying, is this video professional enough? Is the audio good enough on this video to warrant uploading this? Is this video interesting enough? And am I put together enough in this video to warrant uploading this? Or is this just going to make me look less professional if I upload this? I was thinking that in my head the last 6 months of high school, every single video, and then when I got to college and it was no longer possible to make a professional video because I was in a dorm room without any equipment, we didn't make any videos. For a year, we hardly made any videos. And so this past year, I've been trying to kind of step back from that mentality and say, okay, not everything I do has to be professional. Sometimes I can sit down and just rant about Google's privacy policy for 45 minutes. Sometimes I can just sit down and record a video about extracting album art from iTunes files, because even though it's not the most exciting thing in the world, even though it doesn't make me look like a genius, it might help somebody, because it helped me when I found that information online. So yeah, that's one of the things I've been trying to get back into. At the same time, though, I've also been trying to get into stuff that I find more fun, which sometimes is actually the tech videos, but then sometimes it's other stuff like gaming streams with Adam, like particularly with other people. I don't do gaming streams by myself. It's not about the games, it's about the people. But then, like I said, I just recently decided to stop trying to shoehorn Adam into things. But recently I did a podcast, like I said, with some guest members, and they were actually people from the MikeCast community. So I went into somebody else's online community and made some friends with people, and we ended up recording a podcast talking about a game, and that will be episode 75 of the Nerd on the Street podcast. If you want to follow that, we've got an RSS feed on our website. It's also on iTunes and Google Play. But yeah, like, that was some of the most fun, recording that podcast, even though these were strangers. I had never spoken to them over voice chat before we did that podcast. Just that 45-minute to an hour podcast, actually it was like a 2-hour podcast we did. That was some of the most fun I've had making Nerd on the Street content for the past few years. Some of the most fun I've had, because there was no high pressure going on, but it was just, there were other people involved. We were having a conversation. Everyone involved enjoyed what we were doing. Everyone was choosing to be there and having a good time. So I really want to expand that kind of thing as well. It's harder to do that kind of thing because you got to find people for it, of course. But yeah, Red Rabo's Workshop on YouTube says, "Hi Jacob, more application reviews would be good. Distro reviews now have too much coverage on YouTube, in my opinion." Distro reviews now have too much coverage on YouTube. I agree with that statement, because yeah, a lot of distros are really just similar distros to each other. You know, every Linux distribution is just GNU/Linux under the hood. So distro reviews, the way that a distro review works for me is, if I'm using this distro, I'll figure out how to make it work. And if I'm not using the distro, I don't want to worry about figuring out how to make it work. And that's how I think a lot of people see things that way with distro reviews. By the way, let me just check one thing here. Yes, Red Rabo's Workshop is our latest Nerd Club member, everyone, by the way. So thank you so much again for signing up for the Nerd Club, to you. So yeah, Red Rabo's Workshop. I don't know what to call you, if I refer to you as Red Rabo or just Rabo, but thanks so much for signing up for the Nerd Club. Yeah, and application reviews are great because they apply no matter what distro you're using. So yeah, like, I did one video talking about No Music. The thing about that was I was kind of complaining about No Music and showing how to change it, not necessarily reviewing. But yeah, I can do some app reviews. That actually makes a lot of sense, because yeah, like I said, it applies to everyone. So Kdenlive is one I want to do an app review on Kdenlive at some point. I just got to figure out a good way to do it. OBS is a really popular application that I think would get a lot of views if I reviewed it. But yeah, even just some smaller apps. I'm looking through my app list right now of just what I have installed. KDE Elisa I've been using, but it's broken right now on Arch, so can't review that one right now. Let's see. I am a paying supporter of MuseScore, so I should probably make a video about that at some point. It'd be hard to make a video about Simple Screen Recorder because I guess I could use OBS while I show off Simple Screen Recorder, but I rely on that for a lot of stuff, like Displaced in previous seasons. If there's any specific types of applications you're okay, I can call you Rob, thank you. If there's any specific types of applications, Rob, that you want me to look into, I'd be happy to do that. 2ARX says the first video that got 1,000 views. The first video that got 1,000 views was about installing Ubuntu. The first video that got 1,000 views was about installing Ubuntu. Is he talking about the first one of my videos that got 1,000 views? That might be true. Yeah, no, the distro installation videos are very popular. Now, there's a difference between a distro installation video and a distro review video. I actually think a lot of times distro installation videos are equally, if not more, useless than distro review videos. You know, the week that alright, so you're talking about mine, yeah. I was confused because I don't know where you got that from, but I've probably said that before, or you saw it on the statistics page just now or something. But yeah, the week that Ubuntu 18.04 came out, I put out, I'll show right here, I put out my installing Ubuntu 18.04 on the 26th of April, installing Kubuntu 18.04 on the 27th, 28th, installing Ubuntu Budgie, and then I actually recorded installing, let's see if I can grab a clip here. Alright, right here. You can see I actually recorded installing Ubuntu Mate, but this one went a lot further, and I actually showed myself setting up some of the music software that I use, which unfortunately is proprietary software. That's one of the reasons I didn't end up uploading that, yet it also needs just a lot more editing, because I went a lot longer in the video, but I did not upload those videos because I think that they were useful. All of those Ubuntu installations, I'm pretty sure I said it somewhere. It might have been like the most recent network update, but I knew I couldn't pass up the opportunity to do videos on the new Ubuntu and the versions, especially 18.04's and LTS release. So for the next 6 years, people are going to be looking that video up. It just historically, some of my most viewed videos have been installing Ubuntu. So, you know, that was literally just, I want a couple bucks of ad revenue, so I'm going to make an installing Ubuntu video. And that's probably about the most sellout-ish that you'll ever see me, is installing Ubuntu videos. There are worse ways to sell out, but absolutely, yeah, those kinds of videos are not super useful, because it's the same on every distro. They all have just click-through installers that you don't have to do anything complicated. So yeah, like app reviews are absolutely more useful. And how-tos, like how to fix your MP4 files, how to make know music better, those kinds of things are all absolutely more useful. And those are the things that I enjoy doing more. But it's harder to do those, and especially harder to do them well. So yeah, it's hard to do while I'm juggling a bunch of other stuff, but I do want to do more of that. All right, we've got someone in our Twitch chat trying to make a Nerd on the Street pun. So they say word on the street is, and this is Soteran33 on Twitch. They say, I would like a video on what the word on the street about, okay, yeah, not gonna, all right, so if you could just, we've got a thing here at Nerd on the Street where we don't talk about, well, I don't watch Game of Thrones or Star Wars, so I can't, this person on Twitch is speaking in a language that I can't understand, so we're just gonna ignore that for now. We also have somebody on Mixer watching, Wolferdan, hello. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching the Nerd on the Street 6-year anniversary stream. Hey, I just remembered. I was talking a little while ago about my very early days of when I would just sit down and talk into a webcam for Nerd on the Street. That was actually a change for me, because Nerd on the Street's not the first time I've done videos online. I did web shows before Nerd on the Street. This is when I was in middle school, because I started Nerd on the Street the summer before high school. I made web shows in middle school, and they are really something to watch. Now, I'm not going to play one of those today. I'll save that for next year, for another year. But there was a video in between those web shows and the first Nerd on the Street video on my channel now. Now, you guys have all found me fairly recently, probably. I don't know who here has seen that first Nerd on the Street intro video. It's literally called intro video. I'm going to look it up here on the YouTube interface, and I'll show it to you guys so you know what I'm talking about here. So the first ever Nerd on the Street video. Wow, I've got a lot of videos, don't I? We're going through here. Okay, first video was called intro video right here. So just drop in the chat how many of you have seen this video before that I'm showing you right here. This was the first video I made. I was sitting here talking into a webcam. In that video, if you've seen it, I mentioned how I tried recording that video in my basement, but I decided that something was missing, and I decided that I wanted to try making videos rather than like I had always done with web shows, like walking around, moving around, and having lots of jump cuts and things. I decided to change styles for Nerd on the Street. And like when I started Nerd on the Street, change styles, just have me sitting at my desk talking with not a lot of cuts, minimal editing. And it's really interesting to hear myself talk about that stuff now, because I've kind of moved back in the other direction again and back and forth a couple times over the years. Yeah, so we got someone, at least one person on YouTube, enticed to Zeitgeist. I can't pronounce your guys' usernames. But yeah, somebody on YouTube has not seen that first video. Like I said, it was me sitting at my desk, but I mentioned, like I said, that I had recorded a previous Nerd on the Street intro video, and I did pronounce your name correctly. Awesome. So, alright, you guys and some of these people in the Mixer chat are confusing me. I'm going to stop looking at the chat again until I finish playing this clip. So, there was an earlier intro video, an earlier Nerd on the Street intro video that I recorded. It never got released because I scrapped it, and then a couple months later I made that first intro video that you can see now at nerdonthestreet.com. So if you haven't seen the first intro video and you're interested where I started with Nerd on the Street, you might want to go and watch that first intro video at some point. It's not great, it's a couple minutes long, but I thought it might be fun to show you guys the unreleased, never before seen, what might have been the first Nerd on the Street video. I don't remember exactly why I didn't end up using this one. I guess I just didn't feel like it was right for the channel, like I mentioned in that first intro video. I think I had some further problems with using this basement that I later ended up returning to for Nerd on the Street. If you have watched any of the videos with me in the basement, like I said, it went back and forth over the years, and it was really interesting. But this was, I'm about to play right now, what might have been the first intro video for Nerd on the Street. So I hope you guys enjoyed this gem. I am very young in this. I edited this with Windows Movie Maker, Windows Live Movie Maker, I think, but can't even remember for sure at this point. But yeah, enjoy this and let me know what you think of it.
No, don't start yet. Hey, what's up? No, stop. And action. No, all right, never mind. Stop. And action. Hey, what's up? No, I did the action. And 3, 2, 1. Action. Cut. Action. No. Cut. Action. Okay, cut. Cut. Alright, and action. Hey, what's up? I'm Nerd on the Street. Oh, cut. Okay, this is gonna take a little bit. Nope. Alright, stop. Okay, alright, stop. Alright, stop. And stop. Hey, what's up? I'm the Nerd on the Street, and this is my first ever YouTube video. So, this is not my first, not my second, not my third, but my 4th attempt at web video, but only my first attempt that did not directly involve comedy. So, as you can see, my basement is kind of boxed off right now. That's because that room flooded, and they decided to use my basement as a second attic. Well, as we move this way, you'll see my tech booth, which has my laptop. That's it. Pretty technical. On this YouTube channel, I will be doing reviews, I will be doing my thoughts on things, and I will be asking you guys which out of 2 products are better. Sometimes for my amusement, and sometimes for my benefit. Alright. For your entertainment too. So I used to do a web show in this studio before it got boxed up, but that didn't go so well. You guys can also check out my videos at jkthesite.com though. That was the website that my old web show was hosted on. So you guys can check my videos out here or there, and that website also has games, a chat room, a live chat room, and a guest book, not to mention some boring posts that I do. I think I might also do some like written reviews, because you know, not everybody likes watching review videos. Anyway, I will not be doing unboxings. I don't do unboxings. I watch them, I don't make them. It takes the excitement away, having to focus on the camera. And anyway, I don't have that great equipment anyway. I mean, I've got a 4-year-old laptop, and I've got a camera duct taped to a music stand. That's right, don't even have a tripod. So, right, here's another music stand, which I will move out of the way. So anyway, yeah, I will do a lot of tech stuff, maybe a little comedy. I hope you guys subscribe, but please do not troll under my videos. Do not post rude comments when you don't need to. If there was a comment administration tool, I would use it. I don't think there is. If there is, please tell me about it. By the way, I might be in some different places other than here. This just happened to be where I wanted to do my first video. I might be 2 floors in my room, or I might be down here when all the boxes are gone. Hopefully the boxes will be gone soon. They have been in here for like 3 months. You'll also notice I'm doing a lot of these cuts. It's because I find the videos are actually better / funnier when I do. Eventually I might start my web show back up, but I don't think I will for a while. I think this might work out a bit better. I hope you guys enjoy. This was my first ever video. Subscribe. You will see lots of cool stuff on this channel in the near future. Go to jkthesite.com, bookmark it, check on it, play some games. Yeah. So I will see you guys later. This was the Nerd on the Street, and this was my first video, and I need to come up with a sign-off, because everybody else has one. Bye.
So what did you guys think of that? That was almost the first Nerd on the Street video. I couldn't hear it just now because I was playing it for you guys, but some of the things I think I remember talking about in there were that video had a lot of jump cuts, and then that was because that was noteworthy because all my web shows didn't have any jump cuts, but that video did. But then the intro video was talking about how I wasn't going to do jump cuts anymore. And then nowadays I've started heavily editing my content again. So gone back and forth on that. The desk thing, obviously right now I'm recording at my desk But that video was me standing in a studio, and yeah, I moved upstairs to my room for the desk, and then ended up moving back downstairs a couple years later when we started doing Displaced and things, and then I started doing videos at a separate broadcast table rather than recording them at my desk because I thought it looked more professional, which it might have, but yeah, and then at this point I've been forced back into an environment where I'm recording at my desk, but this isn't really what I want. I'd rather have a separate studio, even if that studio would look a little bit more like a desk. Yeah, so that's gone back and forth as well, like the environment that I'm recording in. And yeah, so I thought that was interesting. Very different from, yeah, see, Rob says, excellent video, you were so animated. And yeah, I absolutely was. If you go, that was me being a little more professional than usual back in those days, because if you go back and watch my web shows, I was just like energy level 1000. But yeah, and then if you watch my intro video though on Nerd on the Street, the current intro, like the actual intro video, I'm just sitting there talking, hey, what's up, guys? I'm the Nerd on the Street, and this is my first ever... Like, I was just sitting there talking, and it took me a little while to get back out of my shell, but I really don't remember what happened in between that basement video and the intro video. If there was some, like, life-changing event toward the end of my middle school year that I just became less animated, or if it was... I really don't remember what it was that caused that to happen, but because it looks like I'm super shy in the actual intro video, but the one that you just watched was recorded prior to that, and I was, you know, using hand gestures just like I am now, and I get comments about that sometimes, about how animated of a talker I am. But yeah, that was almost the first Nerd on the Street video, and I don't know how it would have changed the company. If it would have, it might have changed it a little bit. Yeah, I don't really know how things would be different today if I had gone down that route instead with Nerd on the Street. Because at that point I was still trying to push my old website, which is online again. I ended up purchasing the domain name again and downloading the HTML pages from Webs and hooking it up to just, it runs off the same server as the Nerd on the Street website now, because it's just simple HTML pages. It hardly takes up any space at all. But yeah, that website was more of a general thing. It had web shows, it had Flash games on it, and it had a guest book and things. And now the Nerd on the Street website, very much, even though it's got other videos and stuff on it, it's got like Displaced, but it's still like a text-centered area. And even the other sections like the gaming, creative, it's still based around the videos. There are no Flash games on nerdonthestreet.com. So yeah, I guess, yeah, it's really interesting to think how everything would be different if I had kept that website going and kept my videos with that style, with me standing and having a lot of jump cuts. Things might have worked themselves out to a similar place we're at today. I really don't know. Dragon says we would probably be better friends due to a more energetic introduction to each other, maybe. I don't even remember how I met you, Dragon. I'm gonna level with you. I feel like I met you when you signed up for the Nerd on the Street Minecraft server, so I don't know if we actually would have had a more energetic introduction. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, like, I wonder if I would have still gone and done like Displaced and things, which is, Displaced has just been a huge time sink. Let me tell you. Now I'm still working on, Dragon, I met you through Frog? I don't know. Yeah, Displaced is our animated / machinima series. The first 2 seasons were machinima. I made the genius decision to start learning animation my last year of high school, and I made the genius decision to go ahead and make Displaced Season 3 animated by myself. So I'm still working on that, been working on that for about 2 years. Still about, man, I was trying to get the series done for this summer, because now we've got some people working on it. I really kind of shot myself in the foot as well with sending those DVDs to Mike and Westy, because it was a double-edged sword with them, because on the one hand, none of you guys watching this, I don't think any of you guys, I mean, Postal 1 likes Displaced, Richard knows what Displaced is. I don't think anyone else cares about Displaced who's watching this. And feel free to pipe in if I'm wrong, anyone. But yeah. The tech videos are where the money's at and where your guys' interest lies, and so that's where I've been trying to focus more of my attention on too. But I finally found, years after I made it, years after I made Displaced, I found an audience for it. I sent 2 DVDs, a Season 1 DVD and a Season 2 DVD, and they look like this. Actually, I wonder if I should do a giveaway. I could. Do you guys want me to do a Displaced DVD giveaway? I know, like, Frog already has them, but these are what the DVDs look like. So they're actual, like, they're in DVD cases. These are in the shrink wrap, so I won't open them up, but they've got full color disc art. They've got all kinds of stuff, and they've got bonus features for the series that you can't get anywhere else. So where was I going? Right, so I sent, like, this to a pair of streamers up in Canada, and their names are Mike and Westy, and they do a stream called the Micecast. Now, don't look the Micecast up if you don't already know what it is, because you're probably not going to like it, but I enjoy watching it every week, and I sent them these DVDs because I knew that they were Rooster Teeth fans, and they know what Machinima is, and this is a Machinima series, or it was. So I sent them DVDs. They were super impressed with the high production quality of the DVDs, and they were super impressed with the series itself. They ended up streaming the series for their viewers to watch. And so now I've got actually like an audience of like 20 people who really liked the series, 100% understood what it was, and actually wanted to see more of it, which I had never had before. Now, keep in mind, we made this series starting in 2014, and it was not until 2017 that anyone even understood what was going on with it. But like years later, I finally found an audience for it. And I found that audience like 6 or 7 or 8 months after I made the decision to have Season 3 be animated. And I had already committed to that. So Season 3 was going to be animated. That was how it was going to work. I'm still working on that animation, but that animation is taking a long time because animation is just, it takes a long time. I don't know if any of you watched the little behind the scenes video I uploaded to the tech channel of Displaced Animation a couple months ago, but yeah, it's so monotonous, and it was fun to start learning, and it's still, I mean, it's fun. If I could sit down and just spend, you know, days on end just doing nothing but animation, if I had the option of doing that, I would do it. It's not like a time span thing when I say that it takes a long time, or it's not an attention span thing. It's not that I can't sit down and focus on animation for a long period of time. I could, but I've got so much other stuff that you guys care about more. I've got tech videos I need to make. I've got podcasts that other people are waiting on now, and then I've got you know, Extra Life that people expect me to do, and then I've also got college and getting a job soon. So I've got all kinds of other stuff I have to worry about. So I can't spend as much time with animation as I kind of thought I might be able to, because I don't want to kill the rest of the company in the process. But now I've actually got people waiting on Displaced. I've actually got an audience, including the 2 streamers themselves. And one of those streamers, like, I like these people because of who they are. I don't follow them and watch them just because of their past experiences. But one of these streamers was a prior intern at Rooster Teeth. So, like, they know people. And if I ever want to get discovered, they're, you know, even already, they've already, like, tripled or quadrupled the audience size of Displaced just by streaming it once and talking about it a few times. So yeah, I see nobody in the chat jumping on the opportunity to get some free Displaced DVDs, so I guess we won't do a giveaway. But I will bring a bunch of spare DVDs to RTX again this year, and anyone I meet up with there will definitely get some for free. Yeah, I used to send them out for free to the Nerd Club members, but see, the thing is, it would take like 2 to 3 months worth of your contributions just to send them to you. So I feel like, especially if you don't care about it anyway, it's better not to do that and to put that money towards something useful like server space. Right now, we are not making enough on the Nerd Club to even cover the servers for Nerd in the Street every month for our website and like the Restream server and stuff. But we're close. We're getting really close with that. But anyway, yeah, a lot of people don't understand why I care about Mike and Westy liking Displaced. It's like, and that explains some of it. Richard says he was letting someone else get the DVDs since he already has a copy from RTX. That's nice of you. Yeah, some people don't understand, and part of the reason is that they actually, well, that's the entire reason, is they understand what I'm trying to do, but it's funny, it's really funny, because they don't just understand what I'm trying to do with this. You know, you guys look at this and you're like, this is Minecraft, what is this? And they look at this and they see a story, which is what it is, because it's Machinima. But then Season 3 is animated, it's going to be a little bit more of a widespread appeal for people to watch. But these people, Mike and Westy, understand what I'm doing even with just Nerd on the Street, even with the tech channel. They understand what I'm doing. They haven't watched a single tech video, I don't think, but they actually understand me, and they understand this company and what I'm trying to do better than a lot of our subscribers do. And like, Rob gets it. Rob's a Nerd Club member. I have no doubt in my mind you understand what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to spread free and open software, and I'm trying to help the cause of free and open software by making it popular, by making popular videos with it. I think Richard gets it because I've talked to him a lot before. But like, Dragon's just here for the Minecraft, and I don't, some of these other people who are coming in, I don't want to make just generalizations about people. But a lot of our subscribers, I feel like, or I guess not subscribers, but viewers, come in just to watch one video on how to do something, and then they leave, and they don't really get why I'm doing Nerd on the Street at all. And Mike and Westy do, and I've got a video clip I'm about to play you. This is the last video clip I have today. I might play the 6-year video again toward the end for those of you who weren't here earlier. But I've got a clip of Mike and Westy talking about me, and talking about like how I know open source and how I do stuff with open source software. And I wanted to play that today because I think it'll clear up sort of why I care so much about, and keep in mind, they're the reason why I'm putting Displaced on my high priority list, because it was a low priority thing until they took an interest in it. Once they took an interest in it, it was in production, and it's, takes place before Tech Channel, cancel rolling release, we got to get Displaced done. It's because these people took an interest in it that happened. And part of the reason why I care so much about their opinion is, part of it's because they have an audience, and part of it's because they've already given me an audience. Part of it is because they do understand what I'm doing, though. They understand the open source stuff. So I'm going to play this clip. Just a bit of context, they're in the middle of a video game on their stream here. So pay no attention to the game and the music in the background. Just, they're going to be in the bottom right-hand corner. So, pay attention to the bottom right-hand corner where they're at. And this is just a clip from Mike and Westy's stream talking about their impressions of Nerd on the Street.
Sorry, I know you're...
Okay, go ahead.
Nerd on the Street? See? He knows. Okay, I don't even know what you are, but you know what I'm talking about. No control!
Nerd on the Street is like some, he's not like real to me. He's like some,
he's like a mirage in the desert, right?
Like, what's the word I'm looking for? He's like a...
Okay, if you're stuck in a desert, and you know how you can like hallucinate, because that's like the standard concept, right? You hallucinate and you see things. It's like you see Nerd on the Street casually walking down a path, and he's got like a cape flapping behind him, and all he has is just like water jugs. That's him. He's not real.
Yeah, that's what... He's an enigma to me, Nerd on the Street.
The first one.
Yeah.
Not the second one.
Yeah. He's puzzling, he's ambiguous, because
inexplicable is the...
Yeah! Because, I show up to his fucking, Extra Life, and it's like... What? What's happening? And he runs, all, in the chat, he rarely talks in the chat, but, in the Discord, but he'll drop, bombs, yeah, this is an open source, cloud peer-to-peer software share.
He's just knows what? Open source
I'm like, what's happening? Who are you? Who are you?
It's just, I know quite a bit about open source, but he is
he runs everything open source. He made those DVDs with open source, literally shit. I'm like, what's happening?
The fact that you're willing, though, this is the other thing. This
blows my mind.
A shitload of open source projects out there, but to be let me not use... the standard, for example, Photoshop. I bet you use GIMP. I don't know, but my point being, you would actually have the tenacity to be like, you know what? I'm going to use the open source version of this. I'm going to get good at it.
It's amazing.
That's a skill.
It's crazy.
He actually is a magician.
He's a wizard. He's a wizard.
He's a wizard, and if the wizard's saying Windows 10 gives you no control, then my point
what the wizard says.
The wizard knows, man. There's no fucking control.
It's true.
Shit just happens for no reason.
That. I can't argue with the wizard.
You know what happened to my coworker?
So yeah, like I said, I couldn't hear the video just now, but obviously I clipped the video to play here, so I know what they said. And that, there is a ton of open source software out there. People make it for all kinds of different reasons. But What I'm doing is having the tenacity, as he put it, to say I'm going to use the open source version of everything. It's not about, is this the best tool for the job? Because a lot of people are like, oh, I use the best tool for the job. You know, I use the best tool for video editing right now is Mac OS, so I use Final Cut or Adobe Premiere, and I use Mac. And people say, oh, I use the best tool for the job for programming, and that's some proprietary IDE on Windows, or, you know, whatever it is. You know, graphic designers, best tool for the job, Photoshop, can't use Linux. But it's not about the best tool for the job. It's about having the ability to say, I don't care what the best tool for the job is. I'm going to use the open source version of it. I'm going to use whatever is open source because it's open source. I'm going to get good at it because that's the only way that it'll ever work for you. You know, if you just sit here using your Photoshop, I really hate, it's Photoshop and it's like video editors, especially because I have experience there. I don't even have experience in graphic design. So let's take video editors. Like I said, Kdenlive was struggling to understand what I was doing toward the end of the 6-year video, because it was a very complex video with lots of different, you know, hundreds of clips and stuff in it. Kdenlive was struggling by the end of that to open up my project file and not crash. Whereas, you know, Final Cut, I don't have any personal experience with Premiere. I do have, or I've got a little bit, but not a lot. I have extensive experience with Final Cut Pro 10. I used it as my full-time editor for about 6 months when I had a Hackintosh a few years ago. And it was a great editor. I loved using Final Cut. And I get why people like it. And it did have a lot less issues. It was not issue-free, but it had a lot less issues than Kdenlive has. But it's not about what has the least amount of issues. If you sit here and you just sit there on your butt using Final Cut, and you're just waiting, like, oh yeah, I'd like to switch to Linux, you know. It's like, just like gamers always say, well, I'd love to switch to Linux, you know. I totally get what you're doing with your free software movement. I understand the philosophy. It's just my games, you know. They're too important for my freedom. I've just got to have my games. And it's the same thing with people with things like Final Cut. You're sitting there waiting for the Kdenlive developers to make Kdenlive good enough for you to switch over. It's not about Kdenlive being good enough. It's about you taking the initiative, having the tenacity to switch yourself before it's time, before it's ready, before it's perfect. Make the switch now, because if you take the time to learn it, take the time to get good at it, then you will find it does work for whatever you need to use it for. I got the video done. Yeah, did Kdenlive crash once or twice while I was working on the 6-year video? Once or twice, maybe it crashed. But really, I didn't have very many issues because I've learned how things work. I've learned, okay, if I stack up 1,000 effects, Kdenlive's gonna crash. So instead of doing that, let me stack up 5 of them, and then I'll render it out. I'll drag that render back into Kdenlive as a new source clip, save it as a new file, put that into my timeline, and now I can put more effects on top of it. And I can repeat that to infinity and not have to worry about Kdenlive crashing because it's just a couple effects at a time. I've learned how to do that. Is it a different workflow than with Final Cut where you can just do everything in one project file and not have to worry about it? Yeah, it's different, but it is very possible. People who say it's not possible to switch to Linux because X tool or Y game is not on Linux, they're misusing the word possible. What they're saying is, I don't want to put in the effort to switch to Linux. And my job here at Nerd on the Street, what I'm trying to do is convince people that the effort is worth it, that it's not enough effort, do whatever I can to convince people to make the switch. Because once you make the switch, you know, looking back, it's like, why do people use Windows? You know, Mac OS works really well, so it's hard to argue with macOS users. It's just about the freedom, and that's where the philosophy comes in, and I do care about that a lot. Windows, though, I have to support Windows 10 at work. I honestly do not understand why anyone would choose to install that on their computer. You know, you can't force it to install updates sometimes. They went from forcing you to install updates you don't want to not letting you install updates that you do want with Windows updates sometimes. I just do not understand why people choose to use that software. So what I'm trying to do is show people, once you make the switch and if you just accept it as a fact, don't have it be the ending point being on Linux. Have that be the starting point. I'm going to switch to Linux. Now let's figure out how to do everything I need to do from here. We're standing here. It's a different perspective you're looking at it from. And that's what I'm trying to do. And Mike and Westy get it, and a lot of some of you guys here probably get it. A lot of people don't get it though. So that's why when Mike and Westy showed up, and like when I sent them these DVDs and they understood that, and now they understand. It's funny because they talk about during the first half of that video that I just showed you, they're calling me an enigma, calling me a wizard. I'm not real to them because they think they don't understand me, but it's ironic because they understand me a lot better than most other people do. So yeah, I wanted to play that clip. And that is why I'm so excited, or why I felt so compelled to get Displaced Season 3 out the door once they took an interest in it. At this point, I think the excitement on their end has worn off a little bit because it's taking me so long. And yeah, it's taking me a long time. But yeah, that is why I care so much about their opinion, and that's a good insight into why I'm doing Nerd on the Street. Let's see here, read some of this chat. Yeah, Rob says, those in the dark don't realize we have superb open source solutions for most tasks. These solutions move from being adequate to superb if you take the time to learn, right? Learn and advocate. Says the ex-macOS user for 10 plus years who switched to Linux 12 months ago. And yeah, like I just said, macOS, I actually, macOS works really, really well. My Hackintosh, the only reason I ended up switching away from that was because I got bored of things not breaking, but I totally get it. Like, I don't comprehend why people would use Windows anymore, but I get why people would want to use macOS because it does work well. But it's at that point it's about the choice aspect, and it's about the freedom aspect, and you've got to remember those things as well. And I was recently watching some clips from WWDC 2018. Now, I used to make videos covering WWDC, so I would watch the entire stream. Sometimes I'd watch it live, and I'd talk about it. Now, I stopped doing that a couple years ago when I decided, after System 76 flew me out to Denver, that was when I decided I'm going to stop doing everything that's not Linux, basically. And I still don't know if that was a good decision or not either. I've made so many decisions over the past couple of years that I second guess just so many different things all the time only over the last couple of years. It's been since I graduated high school. Like I said, everything, it's like it went to crap, but at the same time I've done so much, but it's like it's conflicting. But where was I going with that? Anyway, right, so I was watching WWDC clips, though, recently, and I found a compilation of just some of the funny bits of WWDC 2018 that I was watching on YouTube. Because I saw Craig Federighi is a great presenter. He's probably Apple's best presenter. He was my favorite to watch when I did watch WWDC every year. After Steve Jobs was no longer giving the presentations, Craig Federighi was like the guy for the Apple presentations. And he did a great job at it. But, so yeah, I looked up a compilation of just some of the funny parts of 2018. So I don't even know everything they talked about. But I did see just a couple of demonstrations that Apple was giving about augmented reality on, like, the iPad and the iPhone. And like they were showing multiple people playing games, like interactive games in augmented reality, which is where you hold up your phone and you see things that aren't there. Basically, that's what augmented reality is. Or if you put on glasses and you see things that aren't there, like that kind of thing. Like Microsoft does with their HoloLens, or they're trying to. But it was the games, and also Apple was showing this thing where you could hold up your phone. They've got a new app called Measurement, or like it's a measurement app, and you can hold up your phone and use your camera to measure objects. You can point your phone at something and move it around a little bit. It'll figure out how big the object is physically. And when I was watching that, this was just the other day, I was like, oh my God, like that's actually really powerful. I really hope that we can keep up with that. I really hope that the free and open software community, like we've got a lot on the line right now with we're on the brink of augmented reality and some other big stuff. And they're trying to make Linux phones right now. Purism's working on it. KDE's working on it. We've got people working on the problem, but I really hope that we can keep up with all this new stuff coming out. We don't necessarily need to keep up with it right when it comes out, but we need to stay within grabbing distance of it to be able to convince people once these powerful tools start coming out that it's worth coming over here. Because like I said, like Kden Live can do everything that Final Cut can do. You just need to do things differently. But like watching that augmented reality stuff, it was just like I said, I actually got legitimately worried for a second. I think we can do it. I think developers will be able to do it, but yeah, Dragon, I am not going to confirm being a wizard. As much as I would love to, I'm not going to go so far as to call myself a wizard, Dragon. So the answer to your question is no on that. But yeah, I'll be watching very closely once Purism's phone comes out next year. Obviously, I've got a OnePlus phone right now, and it's running Android. This isn't even, I'll be honest, this is not running Lineage OS. This is running stock, what is it, Oxygen OS they call it? That's OnePlus's thing. I really should have, when I got this phone, the reason I upgraded phones was because the camera on my old one was crap, and part of that was because of Lineage OS's software and drivers. So I didn't want to screw up the camera on this one immediately, so that's why I didn't put Lineage OS on it, was because I got this for the camera. But I do still feel conflicted about that as well, if I should have a different ROM on it. Let's see. Rob says, I like macOS. The hardware, the hardware's where they've dropped the ball. Crazy expensive $2,000 laptops with no ports, no expansion options, and thermal throttling due to the obsession with thin. Yes. Yeah. I'm not happy with where Apple's going hardware or software-wise, honestly. I think that macOS, ever since they started doing the flat designs, it just looks like crap to me. And now they've got the dark theme that looks a little better. It looks better than the light flat theme, but you know, they were perfectly fine back. macOS Leopard, Snow Leopard, it looked fine back then. Why did you have to change it? They're changing things just for the sake of changing things, and there's no themability like we've got on Linux. On macOS, you just use what it comes with. So yeah, I don't know what they're doing. And then the hardware, absolutely as well. I remember I made a video defending the new Mac Pro when it came out, like the trash can one. I made a video talking about how people are selling it short, and it's just as powerful, even though it's not as big. And technically in some ways that's true, but in other ways, I look at my 2006 aluminum Mac Pro I've got sitting on the other side of my room right now. It's unplugged, it's not doing anything right now, but man, it's a beautiful tower. And yeah, last time I was in an Apple store a good 6 months or a year ago, it was probably like a year ago, actually, or a year and a half ago, I don't even know. But I saw the most recent MacBook at the time, and it had these keys that barely press down at all because it's thinner, and it had the touchpad that doesn't actually physically click, it just vibrates. And the touchpad was like so big, it felt crammed in just because they had this huge touchpad that took up as much space as possible, and it just looked like terrible. And they had such a good thing going for them, and then they just felt like they I guess they didn't want to stagnate, but at the same time they made things worse, so maybe they should have just stayed the same. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Apple. What else can we what other statements can we get out of me during this stream? Any other thoughts you guys have or questions about Nerd on the Street content? Yeah, like I was mentioning earlier, there is some stuff that I've done recently, even though I've been trying to get back to the roots and trying to focus more on tech videos. At the same time, I've also been trying to have more fun with stuff with Nerd on the Street. And yeah, some of that is this other stuff that none of our viewers care about, but I'm still doing it sometimes just because it's fun. That podcast I mentioned, where I got a couple community members from on the internet, and I recorded a podcast with them just talking about a video game. Now, the video game was, I don't think it's technically open source, but I think you can get the source code for it. But yeah, like there was basically no connection between that podcast and the rest of Nerd on the Street. Like there was no segue. It wasn't like, I mean, the game runs on Linux. They've got the Linux button on their download page, so that's my connection to it. Obviously, I wouldn't talk about a game on a podcast if it wasn't available for Linux, but that was, like I said, some of the most fun I've had. You know, even though Linux stuff is fun for me sometimes, I'm getting burnt out on tech, I'll tell you, because of going to college for IT and working in it more so. But Linux is still fun because my job's not Linux right now, so Linux is still okay. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that. And then Dragon in the Nerd on the Street chat recognized the video game Mike and Westy were playing. It's a game called it's DDLC is what I call it. It's the acronym. And me and Adam played that game actually. And you can find me and Adam playing that game in the live stream DVR if you're a Nerd Club member on our website. Now that stream went it was not a great stream. I won't say it went terribly. It actually went very well as a live stream, as a gaming stream. But again, like, there's no reason we had to do that. It had nothing to do with computers or anything, but we did it for fun. And I had fun, and Adam had fun, and that was one of the more fun things I had done. That was a lot more fun than Extra Life this year, let me tell you. So yeah, I want to do more fun stuff as well, and I want to say in advance, sometimes that's going to mean things show up on nerdonthestreet.com that you guys don't care about. I mean, if you're already sitting through me ranting about Displaced, so I don't think any of you guys are going to leave, but I worry sometimes that if I tangent away from the tech stuff too much, some people might leave, but, you know, it is what it is, and there's no point in doing any of this if it's just going to be a chore. So yeah, and I'm conflicted about my IT job. One of the reasons I chose IT as a job was actually because I enjoy video editing more than IT, and I enjoy music. I enjoy music composition more than IT, but I didn't even discover that until it was too late, because I was already signed up for college before I even realized that I liked music composition at all my senior year of high school. So yeah, I made decisions pretty early on and stuck with them pretty hard. But yeah, like video editing, I decided to go to school for IT instead of video editing, partially because I thought IT would be more stable. And I wanted something stable. I wanted the safe option, which I've been second guessing whether that was really so important now. Although objectively it is, because I can firsthand tell you, I've been speaking with some of my friends recently trying to get them to come in for Displaced recordings, and I've been told that some of them are having really hard times finding jobs, and here I am, and I've basically walked into both of the IT jobs I've had so far. So yeah, and there's no shortage of IT jobs in the world. So objectively it's a good thing, but subjectively it still sucks while I'm there working it. And then the other reason why I chose IT instead of video editing for school is because I heard a saying once, and I thought it was a decent saying. It's basically, the best way to make yourself hate something is to make it your job. You know, if you're being forced to do something, it inherently becomes less fun. And that applies to some other things as well. You know, I always liked reading when I was a kid, but then when I got into middle school and high school, high school more, when I got into high school and started having to read a lot more for classes, then I didn't read as much for fun, because I'm being forced into it now, and it's somebody else is controlling a lot of the aspects of it, so it's not as fun. And I figured if I went into video editing, I could end up working on videos that I don't care about, or even videos that I disagree with, you know. When you're in the industry, you, especially in an industry like video editing, I feel like you can't afford to say no to a lot of stuff, because you got to take what jobs you can find in an unstable industry like arts. Or I know arts is not an industry in and of itself, but in that kind of job. But yeah, here I am, and now I'm starting to hate IT, and I still really like video editing. So maybe I'm right. Maybe if I had chosen video editing, I would hate it by now, and I'd be wishing that I had chosen IT. So it's hard to really say that I regret choosing that, but at the same time, it's just interesting to think about where things have gone. Richard says, there is absolutely no space between the keys and sides of the computer on the new MacBooks, and to me it makes it look far worse. Yeah, it looked ridiculous to me when I saw the new MacBook in the Apple Store a while back. Yeah, I don't know what Apple's doing. System 76 is almost, well, they're working on a factory. Their CEO keeps tweeting these pictures of like machines in their factory. I'm just like, I don't know what any of these machines are or what they do, but that'll be cool once they've got their assembly line going. I don't know if that's the proper way to build a factory or not, because I've never built a factory myself. So those tweets are fun to watch. Yeah, so how long have we been going? We've been going for 2 hours. So this is about the point where we normally would keep going as long as the conversation keeps going, because I didn't set an end time for this. But yeah, anything else you guys want to talk to me about? Or any other nerd of the street memories you guys have? This is bad. Now I'm just sitting here not talking. We will have to wrap it up here if nobody else has anything else they want to talk about. Although, let me know if anyone in the chat has not seen the 6-year video yet. Like Rob, did you show up after that? Because I can play it again for you if you'd like. I've got a less than 3-minute video that's just a montage of a lot of Nerd on the Street stuff for the last few years. Got a couple other things written down that I want to talk about, but I don't really have segues into them, so we'll just leave them alone. Yeah, Rob missed the video, so we'll play that one more time. I think I'll play that one more time. I'll try and think of anything else I want to talk about, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up after that. But still, for those of you who did see it before, while it's playing, feel free to think up some more conversation starters, because I'm cool with hanging out for a while longer as well. But yeah, Rob, this is a video just showing a lot of the times from Nerd of the Street over the last 6 years. I don't know how long you've been watching and how much stuff you'll recognize, but yeah, here's that. So yeah, there's that again, and yeah, the only other thing I wanted to say about it, I think we just kind of brushed over that earlier, was the song I chose for that, Now That We've Come So Far. That's by Jeff Williams, and that was part of the Red vs. Blue Season 10 soundtrack, and that kind of is representative of my mindset with Nerd on the Street for the last couple of years, and why I decided to keep going with it after high school ended, because I thought about ending it when I graduated high school and decided not to, and that was kind of why, because it's like, now that we've come so far, why would I start from scratch when I've already got all of this stuff built up? And that's still how it is today. Like, why keep making videos? Because I've been doing it for 6 years, and what else do I have to do with my time anyway? And you know, what else would I do? And now that I've been doing this for so long, how could I stop that? So that is, yeah, I liked the song. I identified with the song, and yeah, I do still really enjoy working on Nerd on the Street. You know, I mentioned I mentioned a couple times recently, I think, in the most recent channel update and maybe the most recent NOTS Experience episode as well, that I mentioned that I've been losing motivation to work on, or that I find it hard to find motivation for Nerd on the Street. I want to clarify something with that, especially because we've got a Nerd Club member or two here. That losing motivation, I'm not losing motivation to work on Nerd on the Street specifically. It's more that I'm losing motivation to do basically anything. But as long as I am, you know, around and doing stuff, Nerd on the Street is still something I very much enjoy working on. You don't have to worry about me shutting down anytime soon. So your $3 a month, or whatever you're giving for Nerd Club membership, I know some people give more. That investment is safe, and it is being put to good use. I am still working on Nerd on the Street content, and I will continue working on Nerd on the Street content. Yeah, for the foreseeable future. Don't know why I would ever stop it now. So thank you so much, Rob, for the I guess, I don't know, encouragement / congratulations in the chat. And thanks everyone else for showing up to our 6-year live stream right here. Yeah, Rob found the channel about 4 months ago, so I hadn't seen that much yet. Yeah, you found us right at the start of well, yeah, I don't know what that would be. The start of our building back up period, because like I said, our year 5 we were pretty much dead in the water, and ever since I graduated high school, I still feel like I'm stuck in a transition period right now. And when I graduate in December, I don't know what's going to happen after that. I don't know where I'm going to end up working and how much time I'll have to do Nerd on the Street stuff. I don't even know when Display Season 3 is coming out right now. So there are a lot of unknowns for the near future. But yeah, I feel like we're in a weird spot right now. And I'm happy with year 6. We got a lot done this year. And this was definitely a better year than last year. But with so many unknowns, it's just hard for me to see if next year is going to be better again or if it's going to get worse again. Because things are going to change again. Yeah, I don't know if the decision to change schools was even the best idea, but you know, I'm here now and I'm not in a bad place, so I guess everything's going okay. So we'll keep going with it all, and yeah, I'll see you guys again next year for the Nerd on the Street 7-year anniversary video. But for now, this was the end of year 6. And yeah, I hope you guys continue to enjoy Nerd on the Street content. You people who are on YouTube, like Rob and 2ARX, feel free to head on over to nerdonthestreet.com because there's chat rooms and forums and everything over there. Rob, since you're a Nerd Club member, you know, there's not a lot, but there is a little bit of exclusive content you could get if you wanted at nerdonthestreet.com. If it doesn't interest you, no problem with me. You don't have to watch any of it. But just so you're aware, if you do sign up for a website over there, you can let me know what your username is, and I'll add you to the appropriate group so you can access that stuff. And yeah, everyone else, oh, the link's not even on the screen right now. I've been trying to shill myself a little bit less recently too, but nerdclub.nots.co if you do want to help with Nerd on the Street. 6 years going, and yeah, if you want to help our future years, then yeah, nerdclub.nots.co. Join the Nerd Club, and yeah, you can talk to us and get access to some exclusive content, and yeah. So thank you everyone so much. Richard, thank you so much for being here. I sent out a chat in our internal chat server for just Nerd on the Street participants earlier. My camera's about to die too. That's great. I sent out a chat earlier for our people saying that I was going to do this stream, and Richard's the only one who showed up. Like I said, that's why he's listed as active on the website, and everyone else is listed as past members, because Richard's actually engaged here, and so are all of you. You live stream viewers are the most valuable viewers. So thank you so much for showing up, everyone. For now, I'm Jacob Kaufman. I'm the Nerd on the Street. I'll see you guys later. Bye.